This is your one and only FireSpark81 with your daily dose of video goodness, and welcome back to another informational Elden Ring video. Today we're going to take a look to see if after the most recent patch, the 1.03 patch to Elden Ring, if Hoarfrost Stomp is still viable. For those of you who do not know, it got nerfed. It got nerfed pretty hard. Let's get to it. So the patch notes stated that they did two things. It said it decreased the Ash of War Hoarfrost Stomp's damage and increased its casting time. So the first thing I wanted to do is take a look and see what the difference was in casting time. And there really isn't a difference in the time that it takes to cast the spell. So the stomp animation is the exact same. The time between the stomp animations is the exact same. What they changed is how fast the Hoarfrost spreads across the ground. If you take a look at this footage here, you can see there is a slight difference between how quickly it spreads across the ground. And it's kind of hard to notice at full speed, so if we slow it down a little bit there, you can see there is a clear difference. It's not a whole lot of difference, but it is definitely slightly slower. So I would say the decrease in cast time doesn't really do anything to destroy its viability as your main spell. Something else that I noticed they changed that they did not mention in the patch notes is that it costs way more stamina to use Hoarfrost Stomp now. Each stomp consumes a considerable amount of stamina compared to what it used to consume. If you take a look at these two screenshots here, you can see the difference is very clear. I don't necessarily think that this is a deal breaker for it, but I do think it means you need to pay attention to how often you are using it, and you can't just spam it like crazy like you used to be able to. So of course the next thing to test was damage. So the first test that we're going to take a look at is just the spell's base damage. So I don't have any trinkets or anything on that increases damage. So in these side-by-side clips and all of the side-by-side clips going forward, the old version of the spell is going to be on the left and the new version of the spell is on the right. And if you take a look at this damage, it is pretty drastic. You can see we went from 1,465 to 735. That is about a 50% decrease in damage. So next, I wanted to test it with all of the damage boosting trinkets that you can use on this spell. If you want to know more about that, I'll link a video that I did, a build video I did for this down in the description. You can hop down there and check it out. So with just those trinkets equipped, you can see once again, the damage is pretty drastic. We went from the original of 2,080 to 1,041. Once again, another 50%. And you'll continue to see this pattern. No matter what we do to boost the damage, the overall damage was reduced by 50%. So next I tested it with the trinkets and Golden Vow. Once again, we go from 2,393 to 1,198. Next, I went through and tested it with the trinkets, with Golden Vow, and the flask tier that also increases magic damage. And you will see that in this one, we went from 2,488 to 1,217. The next test was to test it on a boss, and since unfortunately I killed the one boss and I don't have a save to get back there to the Godskin, the skinny one, I used the Godskin fat one versus my old footage of the Godskin skinny one. Now, something weird's going on where the boss bars aren't showing up. I fought two separate bosses with this new version of the spell, and neither one had the boss bar at the bottom show up. So that is why the footage is set up the way it is. So in this one on the top, you will see the fat Godskin, and that is the new version of the spell. And on the bottom where you just see the boss bar there, the boss health bar, that is the old version. So I'm just going to let these quickly play out in real time so you can get a sense of how quickly I was able to beat the boss before compared to how long it takes now. And as you would expect, with a solid run, no craziness happened where you got a lot of downtime. it's about a 50% difference in time because they nerfed the damage on the spell by about 50%. So overall, is it still a viable option? Yeah, it is. I still feel like it's completely viable spell. You can still build around it, which is why I'm leaving my build guide for this build up. And once again, it's linked down below. Go check it out. Just know that there was one major nerf, and that is you can't use Determination or Royal Knight's Resolve to get a massive boost anymore. They fixed that, but overall, the build is still really strong and can still handle bosses because of that percent damage that it does to HP. It's just not as completely broken as it was before, and it's going to take you about 50% longer to beat a boss. So let me know what you all think about these changes down in the comment section. Are you still using this Ash of War, or have you moved on to something else? I'm eager to hear what you all are up to. And if you enjoyed this video and you found it informational, consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified when I upload other videos. I want to give an absolute massive shout out. Thank you to my supporters on Patreon for making this episode possible. Y'all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to join my elite crew of Patreon supporters, please check out the link in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and share your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.